So then I decided that, look, I would exit. Let them take their party. If you cannot be preaching democracy and you in your own party. Look, there was a time I said the integrity of any election, whether internal or external, starts with the electoral register. So we have what we call the delegates roster. That's what is used to prepare for these primaries. I knew this had been flawed right from the beginning, all created to make sure that somebody has an advantage. So I said, look, no, it is not right. Let's have a clean register. I don't mind. I'm a fighter. I've been fighting, and that's why I gave you all this background. The people who are making noise in MPP now, when it mattered and we went into an election, where were they? So I've been a fighter. And I said, no, let's clean up the register. I paid 500,000 Ghana cedis, 500,000 Ghana cedis.
To have it cleaned
to the party. I said, no, yes, make sure that I'll make that contribution. Just clean it. I wrote to the national leadership executives. I didn't even have the benefit of a response.
Was it cleaned up?
How could it have been cleaned up? It was all part of the mafia operation. You understand? It was never cleaned up. Everybody knows this. The reason why I didn't talk about those things is that, you see, you don't wash your dirty linen in public. That's not how I was trained. And that's not how the MPP itself was founded. But the MPP, which I founded, I helped to found, has no resemblance to the MPP now. I tell you, it has no resemblance. They lost the values, everything. So I said, look, okay, if that's the way you want to operate, you go ahead. And then I came out. So if somebody who does not understand what has gone on would say that I'm a sore loser, it's up to them.
Movement for Change, a political party, Alan Kyeremanteng, and Edano, Naim Alan Kyeremanteng Senaka or MPP. Amanyu kwa naka odi akotini ye pa ewo MPP mu a naka obi akra ehwe kwan se omo prime minister omne ko shares no naka ne dodo na ka ne se edru Alan suntika na nakode a naka Alan na eba besi na nanan abetu frank ano e de ama MPP mo de akwa se ombedi aman so anaso ombedi nkunim ewo abato ya ye babetu mu na so omo ko to prime minister no ewie ye no na akwa akwadane a ekoba se prime minister no se ne enema ekono Ura Alan Kyeremanteng ababontin be ka se wate ne ho edefi party mu obekan na dodo na e ka se o we eye hunahuna fi se wa bi pen obekan ho emri bi ka se wo twe ne ho afi party mu ewi echi osan be kan ho bomu e mo san be ye MPP biem dia na we wasan be kan dia omo fa ne tra na obesan ya ba fi so ndi enim se sa e na wote na so busia ka me ye se we die wan ka ne tra sa ka o ka se wate ne ho ampa what's in Hong Kong movement for change? I afafranto and any symbol at Edano and no and na oko KSM show so na okwa kwatchen yinti a wote ne ho e de free MPP mu ne yinti we sinkete se ono so begina amagana fo atum so aba se kwanten kro ne watimi e de oman akobe bia ne ni so ade hu ne se oman ne kwa e bebo an o kire se enema bia MPP fo eye e de fa ballot papers na mo de kwa kwoto aba register ho ene enema bia wokokan ye ne mafia game bia omobo ne nyina aka ho bi and also ne sadia pam no twa no mo fa mo party na mensument mu ensemi wodi kosudwa e wo KSM show so aha etuma bi so ma page se wonya ya na mi adoma so se na be ya upload bia on saluti akabusia ayenko ni nkotie se ne Alan and KSM e bon commodify.
So then I decided that, look, I would exit. Let them take their party. If you cannot be preaching democracy and you in your own party, look, there was a time I said the integrity of any election, whether internal or external, starts with the electoral register. So we have what we call the delegates roster. That's what is used to prepare for these primaries. I knew this had been flawed right from the beginning, all created to make sure that somebody has an advantage. So I said, look, no, it is not right. Let's have a clean register. I don't mind. I'm a fighter. I've been fighting, and that's why I gave you all this background. The people who are making noise in MPP now, when it mattered and we went into an election, where were they? So I've been a fighter. And I said, no, let's clean up the register. I paid 500,000 Ghana cedis, 500,000 Ghana cedis.
To have it cleaned
to
up?
the party. I said, no, yes, make sure that I'll make that contribution. Just clean it. I wrote to the national leadership executives. I didn't even have the benefit of a response.
Was it cleaned up?
How could it have been cleaned up? It was all part of the mafia operation. You understand? It was never cleaned up. Everybody knows this. The reason why I didn't talk about those things that, you see, you don't wash your dirty linen in public. That's not how I was trained. And that's not how the NPP itself was founded. But the NPP, which I founded, I helped to found, has no resemblance to the NPP now. I tell you, it has no resemblance. They lost the values, everything. You know. So I said, look, okay, if that's the way you want to operate, you go ahead. And then I came out. So if somebody who does not understand what has gone on would say that I'm a sore loser, it's up to them. That the whole party machinery, the whole government machinery had been strategically and deliberately skewed to ensure that one person becomes president. I said, no, I don't play that kind of game. You understand? Create a level playing field and let everybody contest.
At the point where you realize that it's been skewed.
Yes.
For what? Did you feel betrayed?
No, but the point is that I knew that with all that had been going on over the years, Alan has always been a target. And the part of the mistake they were making was because somehow they thought that Alan was a creation of President Kufuor. You see, right from that has always been that. And I keep on to ask President Kufuor himself. I was the first person he appointed as minister. I refused when he came into office in 2001 because I had my own international standing even before President Kufuor became president. You understand me?
I understand.
So all this backbiting and negative attitude has stayed up to this date. It's all the creation of some of the people in NPP, apart from what the NDC too was doing. You understand? So I said that no. If you want to make somebody the leader of the party without giving us anybody the fair chance, go ahead. I'll leave. I'll leave. I don't need. I mean, I've done what I can, but I do not condone this kind of, you know. So that's why I left. You see, I'm only telling you this because you asked me.
Yes.
But a lot of people, somehow, Ghanaians buy into negative propaganda. The party has made him big. The party has made me big. Do they know who Alan was before MPP even came into existence? That I should be grateful to the party. I should be grateful to the party. Did they know where I came from? Who should be grateful to whom? Many of the major initiatives during President Kufuor's terms of office, during the Kufuor days, well, I could say with pride that many of them were my creation. You know. Can you even imagine that I introduced a new customs management and trade program at the ports to increase port revenue? In the beginning, with the same kind of very negative attitude within our party, and then within the Alan is bringing this new initiative, it's not going to work. It was called Unipass. I stood my ground and I said, this is the right thing. We are losing so much money in there. You know. So I stood my ground, we introduced it, you know, and then the very first 3 months of introducing this new Unipass technology, very first 3 months, within a period of 3 months, even with all the negative propaganda, we made almost 3 billion cedis more than what had been done before. This came, let's say, 2019. I think we had about 13 billion revenue from the post, 2019. The program that I'm talking about was introduced in even during COVID time. Can you imagine that from 2020 at 13 billion to last year, 2023, our port revenue, moved from 19 to 32 billion just through the effort of what I introduced. 32 billion. So, I mean, I paid my dues. I created the African Continental Free Trade Area, the single most important project in Africa. That was even outside government.
It was your creation?
To 2013. In fact, when we left government after President Kufuor, the UN Secretary, Under Secretary General for Economic Commission for Abdullah Jani, he actually called me and said, Anan, now if your party did not win, we know your capacity. Please don't just waste it. Come and help Africa, see what we can do to lift trade in Africa. I thought that, there were things that I could do. I have a legal practice, I have my management consulting practice. But then I thought about it because I'm an Africanist at heart. And so then I decided that I'll go to Ethiopia as the director of the African Trade Policy Center. My first project when I stepped in Addis was to make sure that we have a united common market for Africa. Everybody knows, you ask in the UN, and I make sure that the African Union work with us to make this happen. I mean, I was the chief architect of this. So can you imagine that after all these years, from 2013, I came back, having created this major project. And the way God works is also mysterious. Then we came back into office, and the current president, also asked me now to become the Minister for Trade and Industry. But because I'd created the original design for the African Continental Free Trade Area, it had come back onto my lap. You see how God works. You create something, then you come back to your country,
and you're now
and then
dealing
you are now
directly
it's back to you. So then I said that if this is now blossoming, then I'll make sure that the headquarters of the African Continental Free Trade Area comes to Ghana. So I led a vigorous campaign together with my other colleague ministers, Otunfuo, Jerry Rawlings, President Kufuor, everybody that I could mobilize, including everybody I could mobilize to fight to get the headquarters of the FCAT in Ghana. So, can you believe that after having come into power, the one district, one factory idea, which was going to be the mainstream project, a secretariat was set up in the office of the president to run one district, one factory. I said, over my dead body, you don't play that kind of game with me. I said, look, this is the mainstream activity of the ministry. Have you ever heard businessmen going to office of the president to do what? What is the capacity of the office of the president to run an industrial project? I fought internally on this one.
Excuse me, why do you think it was moved to the office of the president?
Sorry?
Why do you think it was moved?
It was not even moved. They established a parallel office.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
To control the 165. I said, no, it is wrong. It doesn't make sense. How does the office of the president now become the controlling agency for? What capacity do you have in the office of the president to be running an industrial project? We fought over this for 3-4 years. I'm saying this openly because no one can challenge it. Everybody in the party knows about it. I was holding half of it, the office of the president. In the final stages, they themselves realized that what they were doing was wrong. And if I had not incubated it myself and had the passion and the capacity to the results that now the NPP is boasting of, 1 district, 1 factory, it would not ever have happened. And I'm saying with pride, yes, my brother, that when I was leaving office, we had almost 296 projects at different stages of implementation. We had almost about 160,000 jobs created out of, even with the internal, destabilization efforts. It is there, it's an open secret in MPP. You understand? Even with those, look, can you believe that? With all the noise we made about 1 district, 1 factory, 2017, first year in office, not even 1 cedi was allocated to the 1 district, 1 factory program. Not even 1 cedi. If you look at all the flagship programs, free SHS, the least funded project was the 1 district, 1 factory. Why? Why would we do that in a political party? Especially not to somebody who has been a major pillar in the party. But, people may look and see me as a gentleman and things like that. But you don't play that kind of game with me. Look, I've been around, not only in Ghana, in Africa, internationally. Very well respected all over the world. You can't play that game.
I just heard on my way here that you have a vice president, nominated somebody to be a vice president. And
yes.
Kwame Danso, that's what I heard. True?
Osu Danso.
Osu Danso, yes.
Alias KOD.
Wow.
My brother, the long and short of it is that, I've been in this game for quite some time. And I made a commitment that in the last mile of my political journey, I only want to be a transitional president. Transitional in the sense that I genuinely believe that we need to create a new class of young leaders. Obviously, there's a limit to how active we can be in politics. So it only makes sense that if you are thinking about the country and not about yourself, that you have to understand that within the next 20, 30 years, you need a new group of people. So I've said it, I'm committed absolutely to creating that pathway for younger people. And I was 22 years when I was appointed as a manager in the largest company in Ghana. You've been around, UAC Ghana.
You're 22 years.
22 years, and
sorry to cut you off.
Yes.
I think in secondary school you entered much earlier. Well, how old were you?
I entered at the Sada College at the age of 9.
Oh my goodness. How old were your mates then?
At the age of, I mean, you can believe it. People with beard and mustache and So I've always been on the fast track.
Yeah.
But I made that commitment that I need to build that critical mass of young leaders. Because that's the future. But also, if you look at the statistics, out of the 17 million registered voters in 2020, 10 million of them were aged between 18 and 35. So if you are a grown-up adult, nobody needs to explain to you that our time is up. And they are the people who make a difference. And that's why I'm so confident that by the grace of God, the people who will make me president are the young people. Because look at the numbers.
Intebusia Ora Alan Kojo Kyeremanteng ene yakwakuti ne nkomo na no ne bi muka se Ora Kojo Kyeremanteng na kasa time wa MPP call prime minister on na do dan kwakufa do kojina aye no sa brem na nka wo se opre aginity na osonko be betu frank ade ma MPP a na nka sabu na wampne na ojemu edima na do dan kwakufa do sa brem na no na political career no ode ba wi on krampo wa hu se but in political career no ebe we so cry say sa voters roster na all kan ho asem say no nti e na akokan na MPP for ebo na mafia game sa roster pro na enom de ye parliamentary election de ye constituency executives abalom de kotu ye ni nyina mu no bia nkasa na ye den e na ono nko ade oba be kasa o we so cry say time wa na owo MPP abanim na ye ne yodum na ye so say oye kufo boy no sa time no wankasa na ye de na afedi edru we so na obaba kasa say MPP for ene no end ni ebi so kra kire say ne waye no eye se wo baabi na ya news me so ote ho na akokoti wo party se ne waye no say ono kra ntimi anya da chi bia mabunu no betimi agina ne party ne so akon e de age Ghana esiwo we no ya mafo adwenche wo mo kire de frank mo twetwe mo ehu so wo de e wo comment no as we ne sa no we mi subscribe button no so na de bell na ka ho se be ya upload bi bia on sa e betimi aka wo ko Facebook so a e too much je ho so ya no like na wa share e de mo crap